is a really strange primal thing. Is it something that men have always wanted to do?
Oh,
Or is
so
it a metaphor? It's like they always want to build robot girls.
It's a feminist
well, so think about
tract.
it. So at the end of the day, this is a warmed over remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right?
In
Eh,
some, yeah, close,
And
but not
it's
quite.
okay.
With
So
more plot. Yeah.
the book comes
Except
out in
we are
19,
the aliens.
yeah.
book comes out in 1972, which is what, like probably peak women's liberation movement, right?
Ira Levin, the guy who
Yeah,
did Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby guy makes this book, comes out in 1972.
Second wave feminism.
It takes
Yes.
3 years to make it into a movie. They get the guy who did King Rat. I mean, like the director's no slouch. Now,
Mm.
we can argue about whether or not it's aged particularly well. I mean, all I know is that I saw this as a little kid, and this fucking thing
Yeah.
rolled into my subconscious for my entire life.
Mhm.
And I had,
You can't see a boob without thinking about that.
I have,
I know, pretty
I have
much.
this
The
movie
thing is,
you know, it's hard to get a hold of this movie, right? So I hadn't seen it a really long time, but
yeah,
you know this scene is coming, but when it comes, I'm sorry, it's still for me like
it hits hard still.
the ending of Burnt Offerings, where Karen Black shoves pushes Oliver Reed out the window.
Yeah,
Like there are little moments in okay movies that still have, for me,
Yeah.
the ability to like, oh God, I'm like 10 years old again watching this at like 9 p.m. on ABC, and it's still like, fuck, this is creepy.
yeah.
And there are individual scenes that I think that really really work, like and the scene where she discovers that Paula Prentice, or whatever her name is it Paula Prentice,
That's
Yeah.
the actors. Yeah,
finally realizes, oh fuck you too.
right.
Right. That's the most body snatchers moment of the whole thing.
Yeah, the paranoia just goes
And
off
the
the scale.
stabbing her in the kitchen scene still works for me. Like there's a lot of things that work for me, and then you kind of take a step back and look at it from socio-political, like what were these people trying to say in 1975, and what still resonates now? And disappointingly,
Yeah.
when we get into the other movie,
Yeah,
fuck, like god damn, what the fuck is wrong with men? Like
I know. I know. This is like it's kind of like a sci-fi version of a trad wife story. You know.
well, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
And
There's
It
so
is.
many things
Yeah.
that haven't fucking changed.
Exactly.
So there's a quote. There's a quote from one of the actresses in this who was asked if she thinks that this is what men really want, like this type of perfect wife is what men really want. And she goes, "Well, the dumb ones do."
And they still do.
And they
We
run
can
things
argue that
down.
Right.
there's more-
That's what
And we
didn't
still
change.
have plenty of
Dumb
them.
people never change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and people have not in 50 years gotten any better too. But let me go back to the scene behind Chris, because that is, you said I saw it in the kid in the theater, which way too young to see it again.
I
Right?
didn't see it.
And
on TV.
the thing is, it's a combination of she's brushing her hair and she turns around and she's got this brand new rack, right? And her eyes are black. So you're like horrified. And if you're a kid, you're kind of aroused.
Yeah, right.
So I'm
And
fucking
so-
horrified.
And also you're trying to
I
process
didn't
what's
even
going
notice
on,
that.
because
I didn't even notice that.
the pan was almost perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's like it's
When the pan started, I knew what was coming, and I hadn't seen it since
Yeah.
I know, and this is like
I know where this is gonna-
I know what's going to happen at the end of the scene.
It is, but you know where it's going to land, and it does,
Yeah.
and you can't see the cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's good.
it could have been a double. I have no idea, but
I mean, and let's face it. In real life, Catherine Ross would be hopefully running for the fucking exit as fast as she can. But this is a movie, so she's going to slowly be strangled to death by her.
yeah, pretty much.
when the guy, the fallacy, the talking killer guy at the very very end starts talking about like, well, why are you doing this? Well, because we figured out how to do it. Like,
Yeah, because we can basically. Yeah,
Yeah, we
That's what he
can.
says.
that line is doing a lot of work, because
Yeah, it
this
does.
is obviously the same factory that churns out the robots for Westworld, which are incredibly realistic and way beyond anything like we could possibly gotten away with in 1975 when this movie came out. But again, just looking at this as a historical artifact, I was surprised with how much of it, despite the clunkiness, and there's some, the performances are, I don't know, is Catherine Ross good in this? I think she's okay in this. Like there's some scenes that work really well. I think Paula Prentice is nailing it. There's some other actresses. I think, the Tina Louise stuff works.
Mhm.
every guy in this movie is an unredeemable piece of shit.
Right.
The scene in the psychiatrist's office is still pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
more hits than misses for me, even though it feels like a clunky 70s almost TV movie.
Well,
It has a very, very linear plot, which today feels super. The whole thing just sort of seems obvious, like especially when you know if you already seen it once and you know the ending. It's just like here's the pieces and they're in a straight line, and now we're at the end of the story. Bang.
Even Catherine Ross knows she's toast and sticks around to get.
They gave her kids, so she had a reason to go into the men's lodge instead of getting the fuck out of town.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that always
worked. She couldn't have gotten out of town anyway because they said we have all the roads closed, the alarms off, the phones are shut off.
Right.
Like,
you're right.
Yeah.
And then also he's standing in the doorway, which is the only way out of that room.
Right.
I don't know.
He's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her, or the robot's gonna kill her. One or the other. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the fire poker anymore. She's fine.
Right. Chris, I'm glad you brought up Westworld because we had already brought up Body Snatchers, which is the other thing that springs to mind here. And then I think obviously Westworld, and we're going to get back to Westworld again when we start talking about Companion, aren't we?
Yeah.
But this, I want to say that one of the things I appreciated rewatching this now is that this is a very early final girl movie too.
It is.
Like this is a year after Black Christmas,
and this is probably the first final girl movie,
if not.
Well, Chainsaw too, but
and then, but it's interesting because the book is not the final girl, because the end of the book is told from the perspective of the woman from the black couple who's moving into town.
Wow.
Oh.
It's switches point of views at the end.
So she's the final girl at that point.
She just doesn't know it yet.
Right.
Actually,
because this is the 70s. This is a 70s paranoia book that becomes a 70s paranoia film.
Right.
Much like Rosemary's Baby, another book by the same author, which is again a movie about a woman who is a suburban housewife being tortured by a conspiracy.
Right.
He's a theme he seems to enjoy.
Yeah, this one even has a Ruth Gordon clone.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, right.
But I was going to mention one of the things about this I thought was just kind of it heightened the sense of tragedy about this is that Bobby, and Joanna, and even like Charmaine, the main, the three main women are so damn likable.
Yes.
I mean, they remind me of all of my mom's friends when I was a kid. They're just fun and loose, and they're second wave feminism. They were kind of doing their own thing and making their way going in the world.
That's what makes a horror movie compelling. A horror movie is compelling when you like the characters.
Well, they did. They went out of their way to make you really like all these characters.
Yeah.
We will circle back. We will circle back to this. That is one of the best things about this movie is that even though John's right that you can see all of the milestones in the road as you're going forward, you are hoping that it doesn't end up where it ends up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's actually one of the best things that horror can do is it can make you go, I see where this is going. Please don't go there.
Right. No, these things are absolutely correct.
But because that's much more what real life is like. Real life is when you see somebody you care about, like real life horror is when you see somebody you care about and you're like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Oh, you're going to do that. Please don't. Oh, you did that.
Right.
Like, and that's the tragedy is that you see everything that's coming and it still happens.
Right.
All the bad people win. Like, there's no punishment for all the shitty men in this movie. They get what they think they want, which is,
who's the president?
They came into this movie from seconds, I think.
It was 75, so was it Ford?
Yeah.
No, it's Nixon.
Yeah.
And that's the 60s,
Nixon during the book.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, no, Nixon got run out of there. What was it, 74?
73 or
73,
two.
but that was Ford. It was running the country back then.
So Ford has pardoned Nixon at this point. So the bad guys always win.
And also,
you guys,
Watergate was a very fresh memory too.
It's dawning on me. It's dawning on me. We brought up the Stepford Wives. We brought up, what was the other paranoid movie?
Well, I mean, obviously, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Body Snatchers. Even like Chinatown from last week?
Bad people win.
Yes.
74.
Second
is the 70s.
And the late 60s. We grew up on this stuff, and I think it's prepared us.
Why am I so fucking cynical, John?
It's prepared us very well for the present day, hasn't it?
But it's weird. Do you think that the fact that everything twists now to happier endings makes the films better or worse?
Well, what's that, Scott?
I said, do you think that now that new films tend to nowadays twist to a happy ending?
No. It's always escapist now.
Yeah, it is escapist.
The good guys win.
Yeah, we don't do the paranoid thing that much. And do you think that makes films better now? I think it makes them a little weaker. I mean, you walk out of the theater going, "Oh God, bad guys won. Everyone's dead." It's like, it's like you really felt something. You know what I'm talking about?
But there was like a 4 or 5 year period where that was every movie. I mean, like think about Parallax View, which we watched.
Parallax View. That was the other one I was going to mention.
Just mentioned Parallax View.
He did. Yes.
Like, over and over and over again. Oh fuck!
There's an actress with this movie who also gets murdered.
Yeah, right.
Guys, the last thing I saw that had a 70s ending to it was it wasn't a terrific movie, but it was an okay sort of action space movie. It was called Life, and it was
the outer space one, right?
That has got a pretty much a classic 70s. No. Oh fuck, ending.
100%. That movie's guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's kind of okay.
It's okay.
You can say that every Alien movie is like that because Weyland-Yutani keeps rolling on.
The difference between Life, and this is just a sidebar, and like say Alien Covenant, is that in Life you're kind of like, oh my God, please don't go in there, don't let that happen, oh my God, and a Covenant you're like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Go back to that.
Don't pet the snake. I mean, what's wrong with you?
You deserve everything you get. You
pretty much.
The other thing I throw out there is that, I mean, this was like
That's the thing we've learned. Hold on one second. That's the thing we've learned since the 70s is that the bad guys are also very stupid.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Is like it's not just that we are ruled by the worst people possible, they're also the dumbest people possible.
Yes.
And we just keep losing to them.
Well, the thing is,
it's like the Bond genius supervillains, those don't exist.
But this film is full of all the men. This guy works at Disney, guy works at Tektronix, IBM, all these.
Disney is the best, but Disney is maybe the funniest joke in this.
It's a great metaphor, isn't it?
The fact that he was an Imagineer. And then
pretty much, yeah.
And then she's like, I don't think I could ever see you wanting people to be happy.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Yeah. And also, it's like back then you said, "Oh, he worked for Disney." And you're thinking, Abe Lincoln speaks.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what he did before this.
That's right.
Designed those things, and then he continued that forward to make Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
So many movies like this, if you think about them for 10 minutes afterwards, you can poke so many holes in it, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, that's a point that's been made with Westworld as well. Is like, if this technology exists, if robots are so realistic that you can't tell, why would this be the application and not actually more like the sex bots in the second movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you need to murder
the second movie?
The guys who want this would not get married, murder their wives, and replace them. They would just order one.
Because you would be mocked relentlessly.
Yeah.
I would say that in this film and the other film, there are different capitalist approaches to getting a fembot. One is you fully commit, to get rid of your wife and have a fake wife, so you don't have to worry about changing any Social Security forms like that, right? The other one, just simply rent them, and you have it in your house.
Something you're afraid of.
It's like there's different approaches to the same problem.
There's a moment where they talk about how Diz is a bachelor and how for a bachelor, he's so popular with all the ladies. And it's like, because he built them.
Yeah, pretty much. That artist guy, the guy who was tracing him, first of all, he was in Network. He's great in Net. But
that scene's also doing a lot of work. Like, okay, we're going to draw them, and then we're going to, record their voice, and voila, a robot.
Yeah.
That was just the technology at the time. You draw them, and you do the thing with the...
The tape recorder.
Joanna, get in the 3D scanner, please. Like, okay, here we go. It's like that's not.
And she brings that up when she says, "Oh, archaic." Yeah, that word wasn't on the list.
Yeah, right. Oh, there it is. But the thing is, he was that guy. The artist was supposed to be like Varga or like one of those cheesecake illustrators. And it's like interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, the thing is, when you know that, you know why the ending.
And you notice he concentrated on eyes.
Yeah, like I said, to get it right. But that was a fake out. You're thinking he's just like a fine artist, but no.
There's several references. There's several references to like Playboy and to softcore porn, and it's like this whole movie is very much saying like these men, not necessarily all men, but these men only care about, because the question is, what were the good old days? And she says when Playboy still used the airbrush.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of these men is that they have this idealized understanding of what a wife should be. They should look like this, they should act like this, they should dress like this, and then this guy makes them for them.
Right.
And like that's the draw of the club, is that he can provide that version of the good old days, which is being challenged by second wave feminism, which is being challenged.
Yes.
This is the 50s nostalgia in a lot of ways.
It is very timely. That line of dialogue specifically about the airbrushing is very timely, because those men are dismayed that they're now opening up porn and they're seeing, women with armpit hair, women that haven't been retouched to, within an inch of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to go back to good old days that never existed. They want the airbrushed picture.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the good old days never really did
exist. They never did.
No, but but fascism is about constantly wishing for a history that didn't exist.
That's exactly right. That's that's the operative of it. That's what's happening now here. It's like. But anyway, this one's
Make
also
America great again. When was America great?
Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's like, given. The more we're talking about this, the more I like admire it a lot. I mean, let's face it, like this is a meme movie. Like
yeah.
The way that Invasion of the Body Snatchers coins pod people, which is still sort of sticking around. I mean, the Stepford Wives as a
all you have to do is say the title.
Yeah,
it's its own thing now. More people know what the title means than have seen this movie.
Sure,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a meme. It's a meme movie because you can't watch it right now because of Bristol Myers Squibb.
I know, it's so weird.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why.
Yes,
yeah,
Bristol Myers Squibb bought Palomar. They still own the rights to it, and I'll bet Disney gives them a few bucks on the side so people don't think about the Imagineers building Stepford Wives.
I will say that the copy that we got a hold of,
that came up at our house. Like Disney must not have known about this,
right?
Well, actually,
Disney was the Hearst of Citizen Kane.
Actually, there was back Disney in 1975. They're still doing cartoons, or
right.
like
they're not
like
the Aristocats
outside their radar.
Yeah,
Disney's not doing great at this point either.
No,
they are a theme park company right now. They're not a media conglomerate.
Exactly.
Right, not making very good movies.
Yeah.
We've talked about sort of the clunkiness and the linearity of the thing, and I think because it's sort of iconic, it's okay that it is all those things, and it's old, and it works, as we've also discussed. For me, the turning point from going, oh, this is kind of campy and obvious, to actually like, oh no, I care, was this scene where she goes to see the psychiatrist and finally somebody believes her.
Right.
You need to get out of there right now.
John, she sounds she does sound like a paranoid crazy person when she's talking to the psychiatrist.
And I figured that's what was going to happen, because that's what usually happens, is then now the psychiatrist thinks you're just nuts.
The thing is,
hold on. But does she believe her?
Yes.
Because the advice that she gives her is not much different than the advice that you would give to a crazy person, which is here's how you don't hurt anybody. Take your kids, take yourself, go somewhere safe, call me when you get there, and then we will figure it out. And in the meantime, take this prescription.
Which we think is actually going to solve the problem, because she's going to get a good night's sleep.
That scene is an exact mirror of the one in Rosemary's Baby,
Yes.
where she goes to Dr. Hill and say, "Oh my God, these people are after me. They're gonna like take my baby." And it's like, "Stay here. Everything's fine." Except for that one, there's this is more ambiguous because she may believe her, I mean, or not. That's a great tension. The end, you're winding up. It's like, is she gonna help or hurt? And Dr. Hill's
Or
like,
is
"No,
she
go get her."
involved?
You know, this was
Yeah.
that was a little different.
Is she
It-
about to get turned into a Stepford wife because she's about to go out of town unexpectedly for a
That's what
couple
I
of
was
days?
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how
Yeah.
like where how
How
wide
big is this
the
conspiracy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Goes all the way to the top.
Scott, did you recognize the psychiatrist from one of the earliest scenes in Brian De Palma's The Fury?
Yeah, well, yeah, I did.
And she's the one that Amy Irving basically causes to put about 10 pints of blood out of all the
It's pretty
Oh, wow.
Speaking of De Palma was the original choice to direct this.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
That's right.
That
That
would
makes
have
perfect
been
sense.
probably
Brian,
better. It could have
Brian
been.
De Palma's Stepford Wives would have been a fucking
It would have
trip.
been, yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
like, yeah,
It
it would
might
have
have
been
been
Carrie a couple
funnier.
years early. That's the
It
thing.
might have been funnier, which might not have been good.
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Owen Roisman who shot
Yeah.
this. Man, the beginning, the first 1/3 of this film, when they get to Stepford, it's like a high C commercial.
Yeah.
It's like low. It's all high key and it's beautiful, and it's like there's these the two girls meet this wonderful little glade out
Yeah.
there with the thing. It lulls you in because the photography is so soft and
So
pleasant.
pretty.
The
Yeah, it looks
end-
like a TV. It looks like a TV commercial.
Yeah, TV commercial. The end of the film, he's down to one key light. It's like
Mm.
you know,
It's also the
Well,
colors.
shooting from above,
Yeah.
what's her name, Bonnie, as she's like going back and forth, or Robbie, or
Mhm.
she's
Oh,
going
yeah,
back
yeah,
and
yeah.
forth around the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
And
Bobby, yeah.
yeah, and so it starts here and then it comes up here, and
Mhm.
she's like opening the cabinet
What an
over and
interesting
over
idea of
again.
having a
It
high
is
angle
fun.
like that. Wasn't that interesting? I don't know why they
Well,
did that,
but
but it
it
worked.
builds the tension. It
Okay.
makes everything, because you have the almost fully locked down camera after she stabs her and she starts going into the failure routine.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then like as she leaves, the camera comes up here and is like, nah, she's still doing that. Like
Yeah.
Right.
she's still
Which-
failing.
And it becomes
Honestly-
like you're watching a Roomba bounce
Oh
off.
yeah, she's more like
the
baseboards.
She
The
looks
thing about
toy-like.
in the world of 70s robot failure scenes, I'd argue that Bobby's robot failure scenes might be better than Ian Holm and Alien.
I can see that.
More subtle. That's it. Anyway.
I would
Yeah.
like there's like of white shit that started flying out of her, but that's
Yeah,
I can't wish for these
again,
things.
it's a subtle creepy. This movie
Uh-huh.
is fucking creepy so often.
Yeah.
Well, she drops the first cup and then she goes back and she takes a second cup and she drops the second cup. And then she goes back and she starts filling the coffee thing and dumping it on the floor.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And it's really good.
it is. It's really
It's
really
an
well
excellent
done.
performance
Mhm.
too.
Yes.
Like
She's really good in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paula Prentice. Yeah, Paula Prentice is a great choice for this too. She's
And I
Big and
remind
brassy.
you, remember, like the year before, again in Parallax View, she's the one who's having like a full-on meltdown. Like everybody who was there during the assassination is being killed. And
yes,
she was going to be next, and the very next fucking scene is she's dead.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Do you want to hear Jared's or
yeah, sure.
Okay, then we'll do Jim's. The Stepford Wives. I had not seen this all the way through, and I really enjoyed it. I love the concept. The 70s cinematography is beautiful at times, such as the long lens shot of Joanna and Bobby walking the field towards the camera and stopping at the swing set to sit. The acting was great, and Paula Prentice is hubba hubba. I think Jared has a thing for Paula Prentice types. Anyway, they never explained how they
who are
were
taller
creating the
than him.
creepy, obedient wife clones, but in the end, I don't think they needed to. I enjoyed much about this movie, but still something felt slightly off in its overall execution. I saw that it was based on a book by Ira Levin, who also wrote Rosemary's Baby, which was then made into me really want to see Polanski's version of this film. Interesting idea.
Mhm.
Thumbs up, cool pick, good pick.
Yeah.
That's it.
I really like this movie. I wish there was a better copy I could get a hold of.
Oh yeah, too. Jim.
It's not bad.
Write to Bristol Myers Squibb and
You-
say release this on DVD.
I know you worked as a
motherfuckers.
janitor in Stepford for a couple of years back when you were like in high school, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I
it's a great
basically
flick.
lived next door to this movie.
Yeah, I did.
I enjoyed it a lot. I decided I had actually never seen it. I thought I had.
Wow.
So I mean I knew how it ends, but So does anybody who's been breathing for the last 50 years. But did Mad do a parody of this?
Probably.
I think
I
they
don't
did.
know. I have no
I
idea.
think they did. I could look it up, but
Yeah. Anyway, I really like the psychiatrist scene, which jacks it up. You're starting to lag as like, okay, yeah, they're replacing women, and yeah, and
her
then you
level
get
of
that
hysteria
scene,
was
and it ramps it up, and then she goes into the haunted house from
Seriously,
Phantasm.
serious haunted house.
Phantasm.
Yeah, Jim, that's like I said, that's where all of a sudden I started to lose my ironic distance, and I was like, oh god damn it.
Oh god,
It got its hooks into me.
I know.
Okay, and then the thunder and the lightning are cracking.
right, the thunder and lightning and the music.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, lead me by the nose.
And coming here, and she's like drenched. And it's like the whole thing just vulnerable to capital V.
Right.
That just
And
works.
it's so pathetic she's holding a fireplace poker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. She goes into Evil Central with a fireplace.
Evil Central. It says in the plate in the front, Evil Central. Is Evil Central a subdivision of the Disney Corporation?
I also
doesn't
like
just-
it's very short, but in the supermarket, which takes me to the next movie, the black couple there, they seem so normal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no,
Yeah.
leave now.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get
Get
out.
out. Don't give
Exactly,
the
get out.
accent guy
But
your
also,
voice.
the implication in that is that not okay. First, this is like the redlining thing. They're letting black people into like Stepford, which might have been
Yeah.
unusual at the time.
I think it's good. Don't you think it's good?
Chinese restaurant or in
Right,
this
the
area.
Yeah,
Chinese
say it out loud.
restaurant
So
line.
these guys are basically they're showing us they're going to expand operations.
Yeah.
Yes, into Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, this also ties into this. So okay, well that's it. You wanted a showing of films?
I wanted to mention one real quick thing.
Take your time, man.
John was talking about the moment where he was like on board with the character. I was on board with her at the very beginning when she gives the interview to the woman from the paper, and she asks what you miss about New York, and she says the noise.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
And as someone who has had to sleep with a fan or a running computer or a loud street behind me or whatever for my entire life, I 100% get that.
Yeah.
Like that is the thing I miss the most about New York is the noise.
Yeah. It is lulling.
Just that ambient hum of humanity that exists around you when you're there.
Yeah. It reminds you that you're alive.
Judith, and I told her where she goes the first time she goes back to New York, and I was like, why do I feel comfortable now after all this tension?
Yeah. It's the traffic.
It's the traffic, and there are like other people who don't look like Stepford wives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
No, I think is again, human noise at night reminds you that the world's humming along. You don't need to be a part of it. It's just great. See, here in South City, it's like I can hear 2 freeways and airplanes. So it's like it's kind of in a country. It's like if you have to get used to it, it's like hard.
In 1980, my dad was working at Billboard magazine in New York, but where was he living? Fucking Darien, Connecticut. And the first time I saw his house, I looked around and went, Dad, you moved to Stepford.
Okay, that's the thumbs. Okay, there we go. All right.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, that was first one. Got it.
Solid.
Well, it was nice to revive it. Oh,
again.
also, anyone's listening to this, whoever, was it Bristol Myers Squibb? You said?
Yes.
Yeah, right to them.
Please consider releasing this on Blu-ray or 4K. This is a very important film and needs to be seen by more people.
Give it to Janice and let them do their shit.
Yes. Give it.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Oh yeah,
Criterion release.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Criterion probably sends someone once a week.
Yeah,
and it's just like, hello, you own like 6 movies from the Palomar Library. We'll buy your drugs.
Yeah, we will take nothing but your aspirin from now on. Just give us the movies, and probably like this. Like, talk to our thousands of lawyers, please. All right, that's it.
All right.